Good morning. There comes a time where you just have to do it. And I realize that I'm kind of like breaking all the rules of all the tutorials I watched on YouTube about how to have a successful YouTube channel, in the sense that my lighting sucks, my camera sucks. I'm not exactly the prettiest man on the world, and so you start like, oh my God, like, oh shit, my mustache is crooked. No, the camera's crooked. And no, it's my fucking head that's crooked and lopsided. I mean, like, and so you get so wrapped up in all these technicalities that you forget about what you were here for. And I just don't want to go that. This is actually, I mean, it's about reinvention at any age, and it's about my own transformation and moving on. It's about moving on. So anyway, so we're just going to do this, and if they like me, they like me, and if they don't, they don't. I mean, I've survived without being overly popular so far. So anyway, a couple of things. And I asked on Facebook, I said, what would you all like to hear about? And of course, everybody wants to hear about sex and whatnot. And, I can go on about that forever. And I have for years on Facebook. But, I kind of did this for different things. This was really, my desire here is to just talk and share things that other people might identify with, but that they may be shy about talking about it, whereas I'm pretty unfiltered. And but in the course of it yesterday, two people, an old friend of mine, had high school childhood friend, for that matter. I mean, I've known this person all my life, and who still lives back east, and he happened upon a blog that I had written some years back about being bullied and how I had come to peace with a bully. And he said, I read that, and he goes, who was bullying you? And he says, why didn't you tell me I'd have whooped their ass or whatnot? And and I said, oh, it's not important who it was now, because it's like, it was water under the bridge, and I made peace with that. And then somebody else asked me, was I going to talk about my Nichiren Buddhist practice? And I said, well, yeah, in time. And I hesitate to talk about my Buddhist practice, not because I have any shame about it, and not because I refer to myself as an atheist, and I know it must sound self-contradictory to say that I'm an atheist, but yet I practice Buddhism. But what I mean when I say I'm an atheist is I don't worship a god outside of myself. And in practicing Buddhism, you don't really do that. But and I don't want to be the face of Buddhism. Like if somebody likes the way I live or is happy or whatnot, and hey, what makes you happy? I'll tell them. Well, I practice Nichiren Buddhism. I'm a member of Soka Gakkai, but I was happy before that. But that has only added to my happiness in life. And yes, I'm the type that chants Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, and and so practicing Buddhism in the past, I guess it's been 9 years now, has enhanced my life greatly. And but they do go together, and with the bullying, and let me put it like this. You often hear people say karma's a bitch when something that they feel, when something is justified, when somebody is visited by some form of punishment or something, you'll hear people say, well, karma's a bitch. And the reality of it is, that's not what karma is about, at least not to me. Karma is not about retribution. Retribution is not a Buddhist concept. Buddhism is not about retribution and reward. Be a good boy and you'll go to heaven, be a bad boy and you'll go to hell. Buddhism, or at least Nichiren Buddhism or Soka Gakkai, is about victory and defeat. You can claim victory over your life, or you can claim defeat. Now, you may look at my life and think that I am absolutely defeated, a miserable failure. But I have the choice to look at my life and see myself as victorious success. And that is what I choose to do. So, and it has to do that with bullying too. And it was after I was practicing Buddhism for a very, very short time that an old bully came to mind, a high school bully, and came to mind. And I realized that I no longer had to hold any resentment towards that person. And oddly enough, the person had passed away. and they passed away before I started practicing Buddhism, and at a young age. And I was back home visiting during after the time that the person passed away, and people would say to me, "Oh, Billy, did you hear that so and so died? You know, and so died," and I had to pretend to give a shit. You know, I mean, I'll be honest, I had to really pretend to give a shit. And, and because he was a very beloved person and whatnot. I mean, everybody was popular. He was, well liked, big man on campus in high school and whatnot. And, he was a friend of mine in childhood, in elementary school, but went on to, junior high and high school, would bully me pretty bad, punch me when I would get on the school bus, trip me, knock my books out of my hand, that kind of shit, call me faggot, whatever. And I think what really hurt was I liked the guy. That's what really hurts sometimes when you're being bullied, is like you would really like to be this person's friend. So when I first heard that he had passed away, of course, my immediate thing was like, where's he buried so I can go piss on his fucking grave? But I realized in time that that was not productive. That was not productive. And I could have looked at it, and maybe I did look at it at the time and say, well, that karma's a bitch, payback's a motherfucker. But the reality of it is that has nothing to do with karma. Is not about retribution. Karma is not about him. Karma is about me and my potential. My karma is my potential. How I want to see life and how I want to view life and how to access my maximum potential. And there's no potential in me holding resentment towards this person. And through my practice, I was able to let go of them, and not only let go of them, but be grateful for them. Because I realized, had this person not knocked my books out of my hands, had this person not tripped me on the school bus, I would not be who I am today. I am part and parcel of every experience I've ever had, from the good to the bad. And the reality of it is, I, Billy McConaughey, the man that sits here before you today, I'm still 5'5". I'm a little heavier than I was in high school, but nobody would knock my books out of my hand today. Nobody would dream of tripping me. And I'm not any more out there, or I'm not any more offensive. I mean, I'm crude. I mean, I'm rather loud and verbose, gregarious, abrasive, or things like that. But I mean, I'm not pugilistic by any means. I've never punched another person in my life. Never. I did. No, that's a lie. I did punch a kid in first grade and knocked his teeth out, but they were like already loose. And his name was Frankie Vignoli. Oh my God. So Frankie Vignoli, if you're out there, I want to apologize. But, him and another kid were talking about me. They were walking behind me going down the alley on the way home from school. And it was first grade. And he was like actually a friend of mine. But they were talking about me, and, whatever kids say. And I just turned around. I was wearing gloves. It was wintertime. And I just turned around and I punched him and knocked his teeth out. Because I remember seeing blood in the snow. And that's the only time I've ever punched a person in my life. And I was so chastised for that by my parents that I never raised my hand to another person in my life. And, so the rest of the world's out there kickboxing and boxing and this, that, and the other. And like, I would love to take a boxing class, but I'd have to go in after hours and have them show me how to do it. Because like, talk about, I mean, I throw like a girl. So, yeah, I've had enough indignities in life. I'm not going to open myself up to like a boxing class in front of people. It would be like putting on spandex and doing Zumba at this stage of the game. But anyway, so yeah, so yes, I do practice Buddhism. If you want to call it a religion, I'm fine with that. I have no problem with that. I call it a philosophy, but I do it religiously. And the word religion itself just means practice. It means something we do over and over again. And I get up every day and I face a scroll that we call the Gohonzon, and I chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, and I say some prayers, and I do that again in the evening. It's twice a day, and it's very simple, and it helps me to accept life on life's terms. And that's really what it's about. Life is about acceptance. It's not about approval. It's about acceptance. I accept a lot of shit that I don't necessarily approve of, but yeah, so I mean, that's kind of where I'm at today. And yeah, I guess that's really it. And, and as long as my background's more wrinkled than I am, I'm really not overly concerned. I've been going to go to the Sephora and get some of these color correctors and what are they, concealers and all of this stuff to put on my face. But for now, you're just going to have to deal with me as I am. And, you know, like I said, like all the things on YouTube tell you about how to do this. But these people on YouTube telling you how to do this are not a 60-something-year-old man who has not only come to accept his imperfection, but really more or less revels in them and relies upon them as his identity. And I really want to talk about that. I really want to talk about the great joy of being average, because I think we go through life, we maybe if you're like me, you kind of like, you just don't want to be average. You would love to be special. I mean, wouldn't we all love to be special? Wouldn't we all love to be beautiful or whatnot? But then you come to this point in life where you realize how fortunate you are to be average, because you know, we all, okay, karma. I mean, all of us like dream of going back to our high school class reunion, and the quarterback looks like shit, and the prettiest girl is like, you know, she's just had gastric bypass surgery. I mean, the one with the knock 'em dead figure now weighs 400 pounds, you know. But you know, the thing of it is once you come to peace with yourself, you don't look for things like that. You want them to be happy at whatever weight or however they look, because you realize that your own happiness is really pretty contingent upon the happiness of those around you, and their happiness is contingent upon your happiness. So yeah, I have no desire to go back to see high school people today and see that I may look younger than them or anything like that. Like, no, I just want to know that they're happy and that their lives are going well, and that they're getting on with things, you know, and that they have love in their lives, and particularly that they love themselves. So I guess that's going to be it for today. So we'll talk more about being average, and I promise I'll talk more about sex, you know, although I'm convinced that bad sex is infinitely more memorable than good sex, you know, because like we take all these things, like you want to have like fun sexual encounters, and the reality of it is you'll always remember hot sex, but you'll never forget you'll never forget the 6'4" former football player that begs to be called Darlene while you're banging the fuck out of him. I mean, I mean, these are the things that stay with you, and that build the memories that bring you joy throughout life, and laughter. So we'll talk about sex and good sex and bad sex, and being Buddhist, and whatever things in time. But for now, you know, if you want to get out your bullies, get them out, but get them out, and realize that they may have played a great part in your victory today. Okay, I went on too long here. But later, we'll talk again.